Good morning. It's the beginning of another busy week in the constituency because Parliament is in recess. Last week I had a very good week down here in Dorset. I started the week over at Stowborough, just outside Wareham at Stowborough First School, right on the edge of my constituency, meeting the head teacher Jan Grocott and talking to her about some of the problems facing rural small schools, which she's managing to overcome brilliantly as a head of what is a school that's outstanding in every aspect. But some of the sorts of problems are really to do with the sort of tedious bureaucracy which many head teachers tell me that they face, such as being responsible for all of the fire safety, being the asbestos manager, having to record every single cut and graze in the playground because of health and safety, and a whole number of other things. So I had an interesting discussion with her which helped me in thinking about how we can relieve some of the workload burdens on head teachers, particularly in smaller schools where they may also have a teaching burden. So that's very useful. I then had a series of meetings through the week over on Portland about a whole range of issues. So for example, there's been a lot of discussion about the development of the officers' field on the island, which is a flat piece of land that's owned by the Regional Development Agency at Osprey Quay, at what used to be the Navy Air Base there. And for the last few years the field has been available for community use since I think 2002, and planning permission has been granted for 55 houses, plus 40% of the field remaining as playing field. And then I've been working hard to ensure that the new primary school that would be a relocation of Underhill and Brackenbury schools could locate there as well, and I think they could then manage the playing field for community use. Now there are some who are arguing that the whole thing should be retained for playing field and there shouldn't be any housing on there. I met with a community land trust project where people are talking about trying to secure all 55 of those homes as affordable housing. I think that's a really interesting solution, that we retain a good sized playing field space managed by the school, but also have much needed affordable housing for the area as part of a wider Olympic legacy for the island. I then went on to up at Southwell to meet some residents who are concerned about quarry development in sites of special scientific interest and special areas of conservation right on the Jurassic Coast. I met there with the Chief Planning Officer from the County Council with residents, and we had a good discussion about the threat to that area and how that might be resolved. And I think with the right will from various public authorities and reasonableness on behalf of the quarry operator, we might be able to come to a solution which will protect that very special coastline. And then I also met with David Beeman from Shoreline Buses. There's been a lot of concern about stories that he might have to cut his routes, partly because of the rising cost of diesel that we're all facing, and partly because of the way the concessionary bus fares subsidy is working and impacting upon him in particular. So that's something that I've promised to go away and talk to the Department for Transport about. And then finally I also met a company called Diving Technologies, Specialist Diving Technologies Limited on Portland, that are looking to expand into significantly larger new premises alongside the expanding Sunseekers development. They're real world leaders in underwater welding and other specialist diving, and I think they've got the prospect of developing a really strong business with really good jobs for the local area here on Portland. So again, that was all part of an encouraging set of news of being able to really take things forward for Portland as an island. I also had a catch up with the principal at Weymouth College last week, with Richard Burgess at Weymouth and Portland Borough Council about a number of planning issues in the area, and with the Chief Executive and Chairman of the Dorset County Hospital, the West Dorset General Hospital NHS Trust, talking about the way the market forces factor, an aspect of NHS funding, to some extent hasn't done the county hospitals funding any favours, and I'm currently working with the Department for Health to see whether or not they can change the way the formula operates slightly, just so that it accounts for some of the particular difficulties that we face in this part of Dorset, and give our area a fairer deal so that we can continue to improve NHS services in the area. Now, alongside all of that, I was also going out canvassing for the local elections, which will be on the 1st of May, when I'm hopeful that we can return more Labour councillors to work with me on all of these issues at a local level at Weymouth and Portland Borough Council and at Purbeck District Council. So fingers crossed, and we'll make some progress on May the 1st.